Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into what really drives massive change. And it's maybe not what you think, not just willpower, not brute force.
Exactly. We're taking a deep dive into atomic habits.
Right, this really fascinating idea that the absolute smallest changes, the ones you barely notice, are actually the building blocks for huge results in your life.
And that word atomic is key. The source material defines it really carefully. It's not just super small.
Yeah.
No, it's an extremely small amount of a thing. The single irreducible unit of a larger system. Think fundamental particles.
Ah, okay. The basic units. So it's not about tackling some huge goal like, I don't know, run a marathon tomorrow.
Definitely not. It's about mastering the tiny actions, the atomic units, that make running almost inevitable down the line.
Gotcha. So that's our mission today, really, to get under the hood and understand the mechanics. How can these tiny, like 1% improvements actually compound?
And crucially, what systems can you put in place starting now to actually harness that power, that cumulative effect?
Let's unpack it.
Okay, so the absolute bedrock here is the math. It's all about compounding. And it really shows why focusing small day after day is just so powerful.
Right. The numbers are kind of staggering when you first see them.
They really are. If you manage to get just 1% better each day, just 1% by the end of the year, you're not just 365% better.
No, it's way more.
Way more. You end up nearly 37 times better than where you started. That's the power of compounding.
37 times. But that hinges on hitting that 1% every day, right? Which, let's be honest, is tough without some kind of structure.
That's the critical point. The scale of the habit isn't the main thing. It's the consistency of the system behind the habit.
Makes sense. And there's the flip side, a warning baked into this math, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you slip, if you get 1% worse each day, well, by the end of the year, you're basically back to zero or close to it.
Ouch. So habits really are a double-edged sword. Time works for you or very much against you.
It compounds advantages, or it just erodes everything ruthlessly.
Okay, so let's make this real. There's an amazing case study that illustrates this perfectly. British cycling.
Oh yeah, the British cycling story is legendary in this context. Before, was it 2003, they were kind of a joke internationally.
That might be putting it mildly. Since 1908, they'd won only one Olympic gold medal in cycling. A century of almost nothing.
And no British cyclist had ever won the Tour de France. Ever.
It was so bad, I read that one top European bike manufacturer actually refused to sell them bikes.
Yeah. They were worried it would hurt their sales if people saw the Brits using their gear. That's rock bottom for a pro team.
Definitely. But then Dave Brailsford came in as performance director, and he brought this idea.
The aggregation of marginal gains, that was his phrase. Basically, hunt down a 1% improvement in absolutely everything. Everything.
And they took everything literally, didn't they? It wasn't just about training harder.
Not at all. I mean, sure, they looked at the obvious stuff, redesigned bike seats, for better ergonomics.
Okay, standard stuff.
But then they went further, rubbing alcohol on the tires for better grip, using electrically heated overshorts so the rider's muscles stayed at the perfect temperature.
Heated shorts. Wow. Okay, but how deep did they go on the really tiny non-cycling things, those atomic details?
Oh, incredibly deep.
Yeah.
Microscopic, almost. They hired a surgeon.
A surgeon.
For cycling.
To teach the riders the absolute best way to wash their hands, just to cut down on colds and infections.
That's dedication.
They tested fabrics in wind tunnels, obviously, but also they figured out the optimal pillow and mattress for each rider to maximize sleep quality.
Individual pillows and mattresses.
Yep. And the famous one, painting the inside of the team truck white.
Right, so they could spot tiny bits of dust that might mess with the bike mechanics.
Exactly. Dust that could degrade the performance of those finely tuned machines.
The genius is, like you said, none of those things on their own is a game changer. Better hand washing isn't winning you the Tour.
Right. But hundreds of these tiny 1% improvements, they start to add up fast.
And the results? Dramatic. Within just 5 years, at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, they absolutely dominated. Won something like 60% of the available gold medals.
60% from basically nothing.
Then 4 years later, London 2012, they set 9 Olympic and 7 world records. And then came the Tour de France victories.
Bradley Wiggins, Chris Froome, 5 wins in 6 years between 2012 and 2017. It just completely validated the whole approach. Habits are compounding machines.
And it's not just sports, right? Think about knowledge. Warren Buffett talks about it building like compound interests.
Yeah. Or relationships, just being a little nicer, a little more patient in each interaction.
Yeah,
It builds trust over time.
definitely. But we have to remember that negative side, too. Small stresses, negative self-talk, those compound as well.
Into bigger issues, yeah, like chronic anxiety or burnout. It works both ways.
Now, it's important to understand where this philosophy comes from for the author. It wasn't just an abstract idea he cooked up. It came from a really tough personal experience.
Right, the baseball bat incident. Pretty horrific story. It was, what, 2002, final day of his sophomore year in high school.
Yeah, took a baseball bat straight to the face. Accidental, but devastating. Crushed nose, multiple skull fractures.
Shattered eye sockets. He ended up in a coma.
And apparently when he first woke up, he was so out of it he thought Bill Clinton was still president. Shows you the level of trauma.
Wow, and the recovery was brutal.
Long, difficult. Double vision for weeks. Seizures. Couldn't drive for like 8 months because of the vision and seizure risk.
And then the attempt to get back to normal, back to baseball, that didn't go smoothly either.
No, that was another blow.
Yeah.
A year later, he tries out for the varsity team, hoping to reclaim that part of his life.
And he gets cut. The only junior cut, sent down to junior varsity. He talks about just sitting in his car crying. That identity he had, the athlete, just felt gone.
But that whole terrible experience, that long recovery, it taught him something crucial. Progress wasn't about one big heroic comeback moment.
No, he called it a gradual evolution, a long series of small wins and tiny breakthroughs.
Exactly. He realized the only way forward was through those atomic steps. Small, consistent effort.
And that leads directly to maybe the most powerful idea in the book. Focus on identity. Focus on who you want to become, not just the results you want.
Yes, this is core. Every single action you take is like casting a vote. You're casting a vote for I am a writer. If you put on your running shoes and walk out the door, even for 5 minutes.
You're voting for I am a runner or an athlete.
Right. And when those votes pile up day after day, your internal narrative, your self-image actually starts to shift. That's the real change, identity change.
There's a great little story illustrating this about nail biting. Clark.
Yeah, Clark. He tried everything to stop biting his nails. Willpower, gross tasting stuff, nothing worked.
So what finally did it?
He got his first professional manicure. Just once. And the manicurist mentioned how nice his nails could look. And suddenly, he felt a flicker of pride. He started seeing himself as someone who has nice nails, someone who takes care of them.
So the identity shifted first, from nail biter to person with nice nails.
Kinda, yeah. That little bit of pride made him want to keep them looking good. The identity shift, wanting to be that person, was more powerful than just trying not to do something. The habit followed the identity.
Okay, so we get why small habits are the key and who we need to focus on becoming. Now let's get practical with the 4 laws of behavior change, the system itself. Law 1 is make it obvious.
Make it obvious. And this is vital because so many habits, good and bad, run on autopilot, on like unconscious cues.
Specialized intuition, the book calls it sometimes.
Right, like that story about the paramedic. She walks into a family gathering, takes one look at her father-in-law, and just knows something is wrong.
Even though he felt fine, right.
Totally fine. But she insisted he go to the hospital. Turns out she'd unconsciously picked up on a subtle change in the blood distribution pattern in his face.
Wow, a sign of a major artery blockage.
Exactly. Her brain, trained by years of seeing patterns, saw the cue, even before her conscious mind could explain it. That's specialized intuition triggering an action.
And our environments are full of these cues, triggering our own automated responses all the time.
Constantly. We're on autopilot way more than we think.
So how do we use Law 1? What's the actionable takeaway?
The habit scorecard. It's simple, but really powerful. You just list out your daily behaviors, everything. Waking up, checking your phone, brushing teeth, coffee.
And the whole routine.
The whole thing. And then you mark each one. Is it a good habit plus a bad habit or neutral?
The key being awareness, just seeing it written down.
Exactly. And the real test question for each one is, does this habit cast a vote for or against the identity I want?
I tried that scorecard. It was revealing, especially the neutral ones, like scrolling social media while my coffee brews. It wasn't actively bad, but man, it was stealing time and a focus.
That's often where the hidden time sucks are. It brings awareness, which is the first step. Once you're aware, you can move to Law 2. Make it attractive.
Okay, make it attractive. This is about desire, right?
Precisely. Habits are driven by a dopamine feedback loop. Now, we usually think dopamine equals pleasure. Oh, I got a dopamine hit.
Yeah, the reward chemical.
But the research actually shows dopamine is released more strongly during the anticipation of a reward. It's the craving chemical, the wanting.
Ah, okay, so it's the buildup, not just the payoff.
Right. There's fascinating research on rats. If you block their dopamine, they stop seeking sugar. Even though if you put it right in their mouths, they still seem to enjoy it. The liking is there, but the wanting, the desire, dies without dopamine.
So dopamine drives the quest.
It drives the quest. Conversely, flood their system with dopamine, and they'll perform the habit like crazy, pressing a lever hundreds of times an hour. It's all about that craving.
Okay, so if we want to build good habits, we need to make the anticipation attractive. How do we engineer that?
Environment design is huge here, making the cue for the good habit appealing.
Like the hospital cafeteria study. That one's brilliant.
Massachusetts General, yeah. They wanted people to drink less soda and more water. Did they put up posters? Give lectures?
No, nothing like that.
They just changed the choice architecture. They put bottles of water everywhere, in the refrigerators by the food, and crucially, right next to the cash registers in every food station.
Made it super obvious and easy to grab.
Exactly. And the results? Soda sales dropped over 11%. Bottled water sales jumped nearly 26%, without saying a single word to anyone.
Just by making the desired choice the most visible, most attractive option, people chose based on where the water was, not just what it was.
The path of least resistance combined with visibility, that makes it attractive.
Okay, so Law 1 makes it obvious, Law 2 makes it attractive, gets us motivated. Law 3 is about making it stick, make it easy.
Make it easy. This taps into a fundamental, human, actually, animal tendency, the law of least effort. Our brains are wired to conserve energy.
Always looking for the shortcut.
Pretty much. We naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work, the least friction.
So the goal isn't to become lazy, but to be strategically lazy. Make the good habits the easiest ones to do.
Precisely. Reduce the friction for good habits, increase it for bad ones. Think about that UK tax example.
Oh yeah, they wanted to increase online tax payments.
Right. Initially, they sent people a link to a web page where they then had to click another link to get the actual tax form.
So 2 steps.
2 steps. Then they tried sending a link that went directly to the form itself. Just remove that one extra click.
One tiny bit of friction gone. And the result?
Tax collection rates jumped significantly from about 19% to over 23%. Millions more in revenue just by making it marginally easier.
That's incredible. It shows how sensitive we are to even tiny roadblocks.
Absolutely. And you can apply this proactively, like the IT developer example, the guy who calls himself proactively lazy.
What does he do?
He practices resetting the room. So after watching TV, he doesn't just leave the remote on the couch. He puts it back on the stand, folds the blanket, puts things away.
Ah, so the next time he enters the room, it's primed for the next desired action, not cluttered from the last one.
Exactly. He's making it easy for his future self to do the right thing, or at least not the wrong thing, by removing friction in advance.
Clever. Okay, that sets up Law 4, make it satisfying. This tackles that problem of delayed gratification, right?
Yes, what economists call time inconsistency.
Uh-huh.
Our brains evolved for immediate rewards. Hunt, eat, see danger, run, quick payoffs.
But modern life is full of delayed return activities. Exercise now, be healthy later, save money now, retire comfortably later.
And our ancient brains struggle with that delay. The reward feels too far off, too abstract. Good habits often aren't immediately satisfying, which makes them hard to stick with.
So Law 4 is about finding a way to get an immediate reward, to close that loop.
Exactly. You need some kind of immediate reinforcement. The paperclip strategy is the classic example here.
Right, the stockbroker, Trent Deersmid.
Yeah. He had 2 jars on his desk, one full of, say, 120 paperclips, the other empty.
And every time he made a sales call?
He moved one paperclip from the full jar to the empty jar. Simple as that.
But powerful.
Incredibly. It provided an immediate, visual, satisfying measure of progress. He could see his effort accumulating. That little physical action reinforced the behavior.
And the results were huge, right? He made millions for his firm.
$5 million in about 18 months, the story goes. All fueled by the immediate satisfaction of moving paperclips. Visible progress is satisfying.
Okay, that works for doing habits. What about avoidance habits, like not spending money impulsively? How do you make not doing something satisfying?
You have to make the avoidance visible and rewarding, too.
Yeah.
So let's say you want to stop buying that $5 latte every day.
Okay.
Open a separate savings account and label it something desirable, like weekend getaway fund or new leather jacket.
I like leather jacket.
Okay, leather jacket fund.
Yeah.
Every single time you resist buying that latte, you immediately transfer $5 into the leather jacket fund.
Ah, so you get an immediate hit of satisfaction seeing that fund grow.
Exactly. The immediate reward of seeing the savings accumulate makes the act of not spending feel good right now, outweighing the momentary deprivation of skipping the latte. You make the benefit immediate.
All right, so we have the 4 laws: obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. Once those are working, we can think about some more advanced stuff, refining the approach.
Right. And one big one is acknowledging the role of, well, natural talent, or perhaps more accurately, picking the right pond to swim in.
Choosing the right game to play, as the book says. Genetics do play a role.
They absolutely do. Your personality traits, things like the big 5, introversion, extroversion, openness, etc., they influence what kind of activities feel energizing versus draining for you.
And physical attributes, too, obviously.
Yeah.
The comparison between Michael Phelps and Hichmel Garouge is mind-blowing.
Isn't it? Phelps, the swimmer, super long torso, relatively short legs, tall guy. Garouge, the runner, long legs, short torso, much later build.
And the crazy stat is they wear the same length pants in seam.
Exactly. Their proportions are wildly different, perfectly suited for their respective sports. Phelps would be terrible as a distance runner. El Garouge wouldn't be a world-class swimmer.
So the lesson isn't genetics or destiny, but rather...
Or rather, align your habits and pursuits with your natural inclinations and abilities where possible. Play a game where the odds are tilted a bit more in your favor. Choose environments where your strengths shine.
Makes sense. Work with your nature, not constantly against it. Now, what about tracking progress? We talked about the paper clips making it visible, but is there a danger there?
There definitely can be. You have to be careful not to fall into the trap of optimizing the metric instead of the underlying goal. This is known as Goodhart's Law.
Goodhart's Law. What's the gist?
When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. Basically, if you focus solely on hitting a number, people will find ways to hit that number, even if it undermines the actual purpose.
Okay, give me an example.
Think of a restaurant that only tracks daily revenue. To boost revenue today, the manager might push servers to upsell aggressively or rush customers out faster.
Revenue might go up short term.
But customer satisfaction plummets, which they aren't measuring. And that kills the business long term. Maybe it would be better to track, say, the percentage of customers who finish their meals, or average tip percentage, or repeat visits.
Metrics that reflect the actual goal, happy customers who come back, not just the easily measured proxy. So measure what matters, but don't let the measurement become the only thing that matters.
Precisely. Use measurement for feedback and context, not as the sole arbiter of success.
Got it. Okay, final big thought for mastery. What's the biggest threat once you've got a habit going, once you're on the path? Is it failure?
Surprisingly, no. According to the source, the greatest threat to long-term success isn't failure, it's boredom.
Boredom, really?
Yeah. Once a habit becomes automatic, routine, it loses its novelty. It's not exciting anymore. It can just feel like, well, work.
And that's when motivation dips.
That's when it dips. And that's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs work hard when they feel motivated. Professionals stick to the schedule, even when they're bored, even when it's tedious. They don't let feelings dictate their actions.
They fall in love with the process, maybe, not just the outcome, even the boring parts.
Or at least they tolerate the boredom because they're committed to the identity and the long-term results. It comes down to showing up, especially on the days you don't feel like it.
There's that great quote about the stonecutter, isn't there? The San Antonio Spurs apparently have it in their locker room.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah. When nothing seems to help, I go and look at a stonecutter, hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times, without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it will split in two.
And I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before.
Exactly. That's compounding. That's sticking with it through the boredom, through the lack of visible progress, until the breakthrough comes. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. That stonecutter image really brings it home. It's such a powerful summary of everything we've discussed. Real success, lasting change. It isn't about heroic leaps.
No, it's about systems. Building intelligent systems that leverage that incredible power of compounding gains. Systems that make the good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying.
Reducing friction, making the right choices feel almost effortless in the moment, even when they require long-term consistency. It all starts with that one tiny, irreducible unit, that atomic habit.
It really does. And maybe one final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Go for it.
We talked about dopamine being more about wanting the craving, the anticipation, than about liking, the actual pleasure of the reward. The brain pathways for wanting are apparently much larger, like 100% of the nucleus accumbens lights up for wanting versus maybe only 10% for liking.
Huh. So wanting is neurologically way bigger than liking.
Seems so. So the question to ponder is, if your brain is wired much more strongly for desire than for satisfaction, how does knowing that distinction maybe change how you choose your next habit? How
Right.
you design it to maximize that anticipation?
Interesting. Focusing on making the wanting powerful, not just the eventual liking. Something to definitely think about.